Every week we always have good music. Welcome to Real Talk Radio with your host, Joe Collins, congressional candidate for California's 43rd District. This is our third episode, and I think we've been having some pretty good episodes. We've been talking about some real issues that we have in California, issues across the United States. And right now I have sitting with me, very, very special guest of mine. He's a scientist, and he's a part of Los Angeles 64th Central Committee for the Democratic Party. And I think he has an announcement to be making later on. Maybe we'll see what happens. But this gentleman is someone who's been involved in the community for a very long time, and someone that a lot of people look up to. And his name is Mr. James Hayes. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you on the show. We have a very interesting topic to talk about today, and I think this is something that's important, not just to Democrats, but Republicans, as well as people who do not get involved in politics. This issue is homelessness, right? Now, everyone knows that Los Angeles has one of the biggest population of homelessness across the United States, and California is teeter-tottering along the lines of number one and number three, depending on how terrible our governors are doing with managing the availability of jobs, the availability of housing, and availability of a better quality of life. So we're going to be getting to some issues today, but I want to know a little bit about Mr. James Hayes. So if you will, go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself, because I'm excited about this.
My pleasure. I'm a native of the city of Compton, raised in Compton, California.
Step into the mic a little bit.
Someone who's been active in Compton area politics actually since I was about 16 years old. When I was 16, my dad took it upon himself to introduce me to the mayor and council members, and he made sure that I went to council meetings on Tuesday nights. So since I was 16, I've actually been involved in the political process and the government process in the city of Compton. And I did that all through grade school, through college, through graduate school. I continued to be active. Even when I moved away from Compton, I stayed active in Compton politics. And so a few years back, my wife and I, she's also a product of Compton.
Nice.
We moved back to Compton 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, I ran for mayor of the city of Compton.
Good.
So since then, I've been very active, continuously active in the Democratic Party here in Los Angeles, 64th Assembly District, and just trying to serve my community. And that's what I've always been about.
That's wonderful. That's what I like to hear. So how did you become a scientist?
Well, in college, of course, being interested as a youngster in the sciences, going to college and studying biological sciences, and deciding that I wanted to go into what's called biomedical sciences now. So I went to work for biologics companies that did work with blood, tissue, organ transplantation, and what have you. And actually, that experience took me to the point where I actually developed a way to activate platelets, a formula for activating platelets, which is used pretty much across the country now. So I have that patent as well as another one dealing with the same sciences. And I just continue to do research and development of products.
Good. So, and also I read your bio, and then I looked you up. I see that you're the CEO or owner of a company, right?
Yeah, I started a company. Actually, it's my second company. I started one company maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and we sold that company.
That's good.
Rode into another company called Plasma Solutions, Inc.
Yeah.
And we developed treatments and therapies for orthopedic injuries.
Okay. All right, perfect. Well, I appreciate you telling our audience about you. When we come back, we're going to dive right into the topic at hand. We're going to be talking about homeless. You guys stay tuned. We got James Hayes here, Joe Collins, congressional candidate, California's 43rd District. I'll see you guys in a minute.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Hurt me so many times, and I forgave you. But this time, my love, I can't forgive you.
Our music is always good on the show.
I like it.
Yeah. So if you had to come to the show for one thing, the music would probably be it, because everybody asks, "Hey, who made that music?"
Yeah, who is that?
And a really good friend of mine who served in the military with me actually made a company, and they create beats. Her and her husband, and it's Cody Team Beats, and I'm really excited about them. But let's get controversial. Joe Collins, you are a Republican, and you have a Democrat on your show.
That's right.
Why do you have a Democrat on a Republican show? Is this a Republican show or not? It's because I don't think it is. I think this is a show for the people. But the reason why I have a Democrat on my show is because I don't think that homelessness is an issue specific to any political party. Now, my thing is, I believe in California that the policies of the Democratic Party has destroyed the communities, the Black communities, especially Black and brown communities. Now, you've been a Democrat. I want to know how you feel about that.
I feel that we could do a better job. You say that the Democratic Party has failed our communities. Mm-hmm. I say the Democratic Party can do a better job of serving our communities, because I think the effort is there. Yeah, but we're not seeing the end result that we need to see.
Yeah.
So the party in control in California right now, which happens to be the Democratic Party, we have to do a better job of dealing with this homelessness issue.
Okay. So when I do my research, I know that ACLU sued the city of sued California, the state of California, to allow homeless people to be able to live on the streets without any type of repercussions. So when that happened, they also closed the majority of the mental health facilities.
Exactly.
Because they wanted people who I don't know who came up with this idea, because it's definitely repugnant to the Constitution to allow people who are not mentally stable to make decisions for themselves.
Well, I think that's a big part of the problem, but also it's not so easy to identify folks who are not mentally capable of making those decisions. I think when you drive through the cities and you look at the homeless population, you just can't point that guy out and say that guy needs to be institutionalized, or that guy was let out of an institution. So part of the problem, and we saw it last year when they attempted to do a homeless census, you can't count. You can't count everyone. You can't keep track of everyone.
So what is your definition of homelessness? Because if you can't count people who are actually on the streets 24/7, whether they have a mental illness or they just can't afford housing, how can you honestly count homeless?
Well, you can't. And it's my position, and that you can't honestly count it. You can make a good faith effort to identify folks who are homeless. But because these homeless folks are predominantly on the move, it's like no one's setting up home. Very few of them are actually setting up a home site and establishing an address.
Yeah.
Okay. Those folks you can count, but the majority are moving around. And so you can never get an adequate count. And again, the big problem as I see it is we don't know enough about our homeless population individually.
So in January 2014, there were 578,424 people experiencing homelessness on any given night in the United States. Of that amount of people, California has 113,000, and I don't think people even know this.
It's probably more.
113,952 people that are homeless on the streets. Right. And we have children. We have like well-established families, real families, husband, wife, and children living on the streets. So what can we contribute that to here in Los Angeles? My thing is, I think that the cost of living, which is skyrocketing, creates an atmosphere where people cannot afford to buy homes. But the weather, the whole appeal of California,
it's the best place to be homeless.
I would say that Hawaii would probably be the best place to be homeless because it's hot 24/7.
But you got to get there.
Right.
You got to get there.
So, what I want to know is, like, from your perspective, 113,000 people that are homeless, and the majority of the people running our California has been Democrats. Do you feel like that is the problem? Because I remember doing the homeless count with Mayor Faulkner back in 2015 in San Diego. and they put billions of dollars in the budget to do a count for the homeless people. Now, we did the count. We were able to give them gift cards to answer the questions we have, but still, it seems like nothing is being done with the homeless population. So, with you being an active member of society, what is something that you would be able to bring to the table, or something that you want to do to improve the situation?
When you look at the statistics, you'll see that maybe 31% or more of these folks are homeless as a result of job loss. Okay, we have to bring jobs back to our cities.
Okay.
If you think about Los Angeles 30, 40 years ago, okay, when the aircraft industry was much larger, when the electronics industry was much larger, there were jobs. I mean, fathers and mothers got up every morning and drove into factories and plants. There were jobs.
Yeah.
The environment is completely different now.
So when Gavin Newsom raised the taxes, and then he created more taxes, split road tax, payroll tax, and all these different taxes, and it started driving jobs out of California, what is it that's something that we can do to incentivize these jobs to come back, maybe better jobs to come back? Because I know that, President Trump, a lot of people like him, a lot of people don't. I'm very critical of things that he does is very good, and very critical of things that he does that I just totally don't agree with, just from me being in the military. So he created opportunity zones, right? And opportunity zones are something that we've been using to incentivize major corporations, especially the tech industry, knowing that we are moving to a technological age with our younger generations, to bring these jobs back to California, especially the inner cities, so we can be able to provide those quality jobs. So what do you think needs to be done from a democratic standpoint in order to incentivize businesses to come back to California so we can solve one part of this homeless problem?
Well, first of all, I think we need to look outside of traditional jobs. The jobs that you mentioned, those I classify as traditional. We have to get non-traditional in terms of who we're trying to attract to come into.
So what's your definition of non-traditional?
Okay, non-traditional would be something that we have no longer here, textile industry. Heavy textile industry.
I never thought about that.
Another industry that is unusual for this country and certainly this state is, say, manufacturers of things like automobile batteries.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then you have people like AOC who want to get rid of that industry.
Well, I think we
and move completely green.
Yeah, but we need to look at the reality. The reality is, and I'm a Democrat who looks at the world with real glasses on, okay, with my real eyes. And I understand that folks want to go green, but it's impossible to go green and maintain the same level of, or the levels of employment and what have you, and productivity that you have to have. So going green is something that I view as happening over a period of time with some great strategic planning in place to make sure that we can do it and transition folks from manufacturing into more green enterprise. Because again, the shock to the Los Angeles area has been the loss of the aircraft industry, the automobile industry, and what have you. That was all a shock to Los Angeles, and people don't realize how many jobs were actually in those industries, and they're gone now.
I can agree with that. So let me ask you this question. So you've been involved in politics as a Democrat for a very long time, right?
Yes.
Why did they remove STEM jobs from our schools, STEM programs from our schools, automotive, general trade jobs?
Well, I think part of the issue, as I saw it being involved, was this uncontrolled desire to move into technology, okay, without understanding that our children need to learn how to be carpenters. They need to learn how to be masons. They need to learn how to do air conditioning. These are basic job skills that provided serious jobs in the past, and we've kind of kicked all that aside, and we've only damaged the lives of our children.
That's true. Okay, so what I want to do is, when we're about to take a quick break, but I want to get into homeless prevention. All right, and I appreciate your insight. So you guys stay tuned. Homeless prevention. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see if we can come to some type of resolve. Stay tuned. Joe Collins for Congress, Real Talk Radio.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
Imagine this is your money and someone wants to take it from you. Who is it? The IRS. They want your money, and guess what? They can legally take it, all of it if they want. Remember, they sent you that letter that said, hey, you owe us a bunch of cash and we're going to take it from you. So what do? Fight back by letting our team of experts at the tax helpline work it out with the IRS so you can keep your money. And we're good at what we do. When you hire us, you get a team of guys on your side that know the IRS laws and will fight to save your money. So if you owe the IRS a ton of cash and you want to keep it, call right now and learn for free how we can help you put it back in your pocket.
800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. 800-932-1597. That's 800-932-1597.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644.
If you are still tuned in and joining us, I really want to appreciate you for joining this episode. As always, we like to keep God first in our episodes. I apologize we didn't start off with a prayer before we start this episode, but you guys know God is first in our life, first and foremost before anything. But let's hop back into it. Homeless prevention. We know that we have a 77% high school graduation rate in Los Angeles County. We also have a 22% graduation rate from college in the Los Angeles area. And so that's the reason why that, STEM jobs or tech jobs are important to me. You know what I'm saying? Because we already know that people are attempting to go to college. Everyone wants to be successful. It's not some type of like magic trick that, success just pops up overnight, or you can just go to a tree and pull success like an apple. We don't even have apple trees, but I think we should get some out here. But everybody wants to be successful in their own rights. And with the graduation rate that we have right now for high school and college, I think that it's almost impossible for people in the inner cities to be able to do that. One thing that I don't like is the handouts, have this, have that, have that. I think that, and a lot of people say this, a lot of conservatives say this, and, pull yourself by your bootstraps and yada, 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 all of that mumbo jumbo. It sounds really, really good to hear. But the actuality is, unless we have opportunities in our inner cities for people to be able to do this, then, nobody's going to be pulling themselves up by anything.
Right.
So how can you tell somebody, pull yourself up by your bootstraps when they can't afford shoes?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So with our graduation rates that we have right now, one thing that, and this is why I admire Nipsey Hussle. You know what I'm saying? Because he was working to put STEM programs back in our schools and give our youth something to do after school. And right now we know that youth don't have anything to do. So when it comes to preventing homeless prevention, knowing that we have a high amount of homeless youth, what is something that you think can be done to prevent the amount of homelessness that we have in our youth?
Well, one thing I think we have to go back when we talk about our youngsters, service for our youngsters. We need to design programs specifically for school-age children. I mean, after-school programs.
Absolutely.
I mean, job readiness training programs. I mean, programs when we talk about pulling up your bootstraps, the question would be pulling up the bootstraps in anticipation of what?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to begin to teach our children about careers, trades, and what have you while they're still in the educational system, so that when they finish that system, they know what direction they're going in and they have options. Okay. And that's something that's been pulled out of our schools. And it's something that creates an environment where we have thousands of young men and women who graduate from high school, but they have nothing to do and nowhere to go if they haven't been programmed into college right away. And honestly, the community college system in California is not like the junior college system.
It's not.
Okay. And if you don't know what you're doing, when I came out of high school, all the kids who didn't know what they were going to do, didn't know where to go, they went to Compton Junior College.
Yeah.
And they learned skills, or they prepared to go on to a 4-year college. So we need that. We need that kind of support.
So we'll go ahead and give a shout out to all of our community colleges and junior colleges and universities that we have in California, because we know that you guys are working extremely hard to make sure that our young adults become successful, remain successful, or even, fast track them to a career that they want to have. And so, we appreciate the work that you guys have been doing with our young people.
Could I add something to that? Sure. I don't want to lessen the value of young people, of organizations like YMCA, YWCA,
absolutely,
Boys and Girls Clubs, and what have you. All these extra programs that make services available to kids.
Yeah,
we have to strengthen those programs. Parents, you have to get your children into these after-school programs, into these summer programs. You have to do it.
Yeah. So my thing about this is when I talk to people, I try to separate the political party preference from the actual person, because people, especially in South LA, they have a tendency of voting because of political party preference without knowing the person who they're actually voting for. And so I say this all the time. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different results. What I mean by that is we've been having the same people sitting in office positions for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and they have gotten extremely comfortable without doing anything for anybody in our communities. And they've made the people in our communities extremely comfortable without having anything. So when somebody brings something to the table and they say, look, you can absolutely accomplish that, because they have been so used to not receiving anything, they think it's far-fetched. Like, no, that's not for us. Those are white people. Right. That's for rich people. Or that's for this, or this is for that, without understanding that the mindset that has been created by these people who are now running our cities have convoluted the idea of the American dream, have convoluted the idea of the possibilities that people can have within their own lives. And I think that's something that, regardless if you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent, has to be broken. And it can only be broken by getting involved with new people, having new people represent you. And if you don't like that person, you got 2 years, you vote them out and vote somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with starting over every couple of years. But we're about to take a break right now. We have James Hayes here. He's an acclaimed scientist. He has patents. This guy is very smart, very knowledgeable. When we come back, we're going to continue with homeless prevention. Stay tuned. Real Talk Radio, Joe Collins for Congress.
This is The Entertainment Answer. The new political comedy Irresistible is a bipartisan look at how silly and out of hand elections can get. It stars Steve Carell and Chris Cooper, and Carell said this about the script.
It's really not so much about the politics themselves. It doesn't necessarily lean right or left. It's really mostly about the people who are caught in between.
Irresistible is rated R for language and available on demand starting June 26th. Remember to be safe and smart out there. For This Entertainment Answer, I'm Matt Mungle.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Legendary food critic Meryl Schindler talks about the Hill Street Cafe in Burbank, California.
The Hill Street Cafe in Burbank, California, 3301 North Glen Oaks Boulevard, open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And when I say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I mean menus that give you everything you can possibly want. I'm looking at the dinner menu here. They got every sort of sandwich and salad. And not only do they have burgers and hot dogs, but they have burgers and hot dogs made with Beyond Meat and Beyond Sausage. They have a fitness menu. They have senior dining. It is a full-service restaurant with a lot of, I should mention, very good beers and wines. And they have a back room that is semi-private, fits up to 50 people. They offer delivery through ChowNow, Grubhub, Postmates, DoorDash, and Uber Eats. They allow filming at the restaurant as well. Parking lot is great, a lot over 60 spots. It's a terrific restaurant, and I love the fact that it's something for everybody. Hill Street Cafe, 3301 North Glen Oaks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Hi, I'm Dennis Bono. Join me every Saturday at 6 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m. for the Dennis Bono Show live from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. Enjoy this fun-filled hour with my celebrity friends as they perform, visit, and have lots of fun with me in front of a live audience in the showroom at the South Point Hotel. Please join me Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific, Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific, right here on CRN Radio and crntalk.com.
It's totally normal to be constipated with belly pain, straining, and bloating again and again.
No way.
Maybe it's occasional constipation.
Maybe it's not.
You could have a chronic condition called irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives to help relieve belly pain and let you have more frequent and complete bowel movements. Individual results may vary. Do not give to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Maybe it's not occasional constipation. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. You may be able to talk to a doctor online. Visit linzess.com, sponsored by Allergan and Ironwood.
All right, you guys, welcome back. Real Talk Radio, Joe Collins for Congress. We have James Hayes here, who's a scientist. Very excited to have him on. Very excited about the conversation that we've been having. But we have another special guest, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. You know what? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. How you doing? My name is James Rolfe. What do I do? I have a nonprofit. I work for a nonprofit called The Good Seed. We work with homeless youth. In the Leimert Park area. We have a location in Long Beach as well. Entrepreneur, I'm married, 26 years.
Nice.
My son is 24, my daughter's 14. So that's what I do. And we have a business, so, entrepreneurship.
Good. Well, we're happy to have you here, and our guests are going to be happy to have you here once we get into this conversation. So we just got off homeless youth. Right. And one of the biggest issues that we have with homeless youth is the cost of living. The cost of living is extremely high here in California, which causes whole families to become homeless. Right. So you have families who are sleeping in their cars and their RVs, or sleeping in different parks. And, the state of California still requires youth under 18 to go to school every single day. So being someone who is involved with the homeless youth, what is something that you see on a daily basis that can be improved, or something that you would like to see improve when it comes to homeless youth? And what do you think is the cause of our youth becoming homeless in Los Angeles?
So that's a that's a big question.
Uh-huh.
Just like the body, it has many parts to it.
Yeah.
And so I've been working with the homeless youth for just over a year now. When I first started with the CEO, Jonathan Thompson, it was amazing because at the drop-in center, we were helping at least 30 to 40 kids a day.
Nice. What is that center? What is the drop-in center?
So the drop-in center is where kids can come in. They can eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
They can work with an employment specialist.
Nice.
They can take a shower. They can wash their clothes. And we have different other services because we're contracted with the Department of Mental Health.
Nice.
So they come in a couple of times a week, and so we just try to reconnect the kids. And it's a time for them to, especially those that were just coming off the street, right? This is this is that hangout, right?
So when it comes to youth, when we have a huge issue with drug and alcohol,
right,
for adults, is that something that you see in our youth?
Most definitely.
So how can we prevent that? What do you see with that?
Well, we're living in a culture now where it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with the legalization of marijuana, which I have a big issue with, now I know people that smoke it, right? I got it.
Yeah.
But with the legalization of it, our young people now have access to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like just crazy now, right? And so it is those things that they connect with and in their circle. So now when they go try to get a job, right, other than McDonald's, they can't because they're going to get tested, drug tested.
True.
And so these are some of the things that's causing the barrier. And I call it an invisible ceiling that they can't see, another weight that they don't understand that's going to affect them down the road. By the way, one organization they did drug testing with their youth population, a house that they were working with, and found out that the marijuana that the kid was smoking and they giving to everybody else, it was laced with heroin.
Wow.
And they tracked it back to the legalized weed shop.
So let me ask you this question. So you know the culture that we live in today. We have I'm 34 years old, so I teeter-totter along. Okay, all right. So I teeter-totter along between identifying with what the older generation, but also seeing what affects our younger generation. And a lot of Black women don't like to hear this. And I say it all the time. I said we as young men need to take personal responsibility for how we look, how we dress, how we act. They always used to have this thing where they say is, fake it until you make it. Now, the influences that we have in our community, especially the young community, has been rappers, people who you see in the hood. You have our ballers, our NBA players, WNBA players, and things like this. But then you also have the Real Housewives of Hollywood and things of that nature, where this is a fictitious lifestyle that's portrayed on TV. But now we have our young people engaging in this fictitious lifestyle as if it was real. So, you have XXX Tentacion, who died of a drug overdose, and you have other rappers who have died from drug overdose. And one thing that is brought to mind is that when you are in school, because I have a 14-year-old daughter, and they told me that she needed ADHD medication, right? And so now it's become a cultural norm to medicate our youth, which segues into stronger drugs. So from both of you guys' standpoint, what do you think about that?
Well, I'll say this, and I'll preface it by saying both of you could be my sons if I had started.
Oh, that's how you're going to do it?
Okay, I'll preface it with that. But I would say that prescribing meds for ADHD in youngsters now has become the norm.
Mm-hmm.
I tell parents not to do it. Okay, because what they're prescribing it for, to the attention deficit in class, is when the child fails to pay attention to what's going on in class. That's not a disease. What that is maybe the teacher is not teaching at the speed that your child needs them to teach. Sure. Okay. Sometimes the children are ahead of the teacher. I know from experience, because I had a daughter who was told the same thing. She's 23 years old now, but they told me the same thing. But as it turned out, she was ahead of the teacher all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, the teacher thought she wasn't paying attention. Well, actually, she was ahead of the teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had to figure out a way to slow her down. And the psychiatrist, if you want to slow her down, and this psychiatrist was a friend, said, take away television. If you take away television, the child's brain is going to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but we're in a culture where information is at the ready, So we got a couple seconds left. What do you think about that?
So I homeschooled my son. We had an opportunity where we were able to do that. And the interesting thing is, when I was going through this process, because he went from a private Christian school to a public school, which it was like, okay, that's not going to work. and he was born premature. He was born in 6 months, and so he does have some development disorders.
Yeah.
But what we found when we got him tested at age 7, on the test questions, Kaiser said it's interesting because on the hard questions he did well on
Yeah.
the easy questions he didn't know anything.
It's crazy. All right, you guys, we're about to take a break. We're going to hop right back into the mental health of our youth. Stay tuned. Joe Collins for Congress. We have James and James.
Yeah. JJ.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. 888-912-1332. Call right now. 888-912-1332.
How would you like to save up to $500 on your next vacation package? Any vacation package anywhere in the world. Just call Superior Travel and mention the code RADIO and save up to $500. We'll design a custom, fantastic vacation just for you with all the bells and whistles. Not some cookie-cutter vacation, but a unique, all-included vacation customized by one of our exclusive travel experts. And our service is completely free. You pay nothing more. So why waste your time? Let us do it for you. We've got over 100 years of travel experience to help create the perfect trip for you. Call now and learn how to save up to $500 on your next custom vacation. Pick up the phone, call Superior Travel, and use the code word RADIO.
800-570-9631. 800-570-9631. That's 800-570-9631.
All right, you guys, we're coming back. Let's hop right back into it. So when we talk about homeless in our youth and the opportunities that are available or lack thereof, what is that you think that we can do in order to create more opportunities, or if you know of opportunities that we can get our youth involved in?
Right?
Do you know of any?
So I think we have to really begin to think outside the box, right? And because I'm an entrepreneur, when I come into a nonprofit, they think nonprofit ways, right? And so I can come in and say, hey, let's do this in my network, right? And so we come in and do this. And so with that, I was allowed to create a program called THYM, THYEM, which stands for the Homeless Youth Empowerment Movement.
Nice.
And I saw that because many of the kids were singers. They're great graphic artists, right? They got the iPhone, and so they know how to do the camera, but they just need an opportunity. And at the same time, they're in this thing called what I call the survival mode, right? So they're homeless and they're surviving with their friends. So there's an argument that's there, and they don't know how to get out of that because they're watching this is the only way you know how to communicate is to argue back and forth, right? And so I brought in this group and I said, hey, let me mentor you, right, in this area. And so we're going to define your talent, allow my network to come in and show you. And the interesting thing about that, I took one couple to a business source center here in Los Angeles. And I said, I want you to tell your story. Don't be embarrassed about your homelessness, because we're going to use this as a platform to jump off of, and it's going to be the greatest thing in your life. And so when we went into the meeting, they met with the COO, and he was asking different questions. And after we left, we got back into the car. I said, hey, guys, what do you think? And he goes, I never knew anybody helped like that. I said, people in my network help each other, right? So I'm trying to get you out of the culture of that survival mode where you're fighting over crumbs, but we can do something much bigger on a greater scale.
Yeah.
And with that, we've been able to connect with different organizations, bring in the team, and now we're in the process of showing them how to become entrepreneurs, because you can do that over the phone now.
Yeah.
So there's no need for them to, if they struggle with a day-to-day job, which some do, right? Then let's find your talent and let's create that, and let us show you how to elevate that and to grow from that.
Can I interject a point on that? Because he used the term, and we used it earlier, thinking outside the box. And we're talking about stagnated government.
Yeah.
And we can't get government moving until there's new blood and a new way of thinking. And it goes to what you were talking about earlier, of politicians getting to the point where they're entitled to their seats.
Mm-hmm.
And when it gets to that point, you get the stagnation, and you're eliminating that breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And that new information. I get excited when someone tells me they're an entrepreneur, they're a business person, and they go to a nonprofit organization and they change the thought pattern.
Yeah.
Okay. Same thing needs to happen in government. The same thing needs to happen in government. The thought pattern needs to be changed, because if we do that, then we'll get support for James's programs. We'll get supports for all the other nonprofits that are serving children.
Right.
But we got to change that mindset.
But let me ask you a question, right? Because you brought up the term entrepreneur. So a lot of people think that entrepreneur is I'm a small business owner, and they actually work in that shop. So when you use a term like entrepreneur, like explain what it is that you mean. Because I know, like, Sam Walton, right? He's an entrepreneur. And he has Walmarts all over the place. But I know you have businesses in Leimert Park where the owner actually work into that business. And so you're not necessarily a entrepreneur. You're a person who created a job for yourself.
Entrepreneurship is an active word. When I started my companies as an entrepreneur, it meant that I was always taking actions to grow my companies. Okay. And that's what an entrepreneur is. So be it a small business or a large scale business, entrepreneurism is an action word.
Yeah.
You just can't put your shingle up and open the door and say, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
No, you have to work to drive your business.
Exactly.
That's what an entrepreneur does.
Now, you really need to have my wife, who's a USC professor and who teaches entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And working with businesses.
I wonder if she thinks I was right.
What do you think? Do you think he was right? He was on it, right? So it's the actionpreneur, right? Yeah, the actionpreneur, actionpreneurs,
exactly. Hustlepreneur, all that.
That's wonderful. I love it, man. So when it comes to incarceration, right, for the youth, how do you think incarceration attributes to the homeless youth population that we have? Since we're on youth topic right now.
So that's a different dynamic now, because the kids, they're feeling hopeless. So they're coming out. What is there to do? Right. They may not, if they have family, right. Where do they go? Right. They come into the system, which tells them you got to do X, you got to do this step, this step, this step. But that person may be that kid that's an ADD, and then he gets in trouble, right. And can't stay in the system because they haven't recognized that this kid has a talent. And so now the kid gets kicked out of the system, right? He's on the street, and then he's trying to get his hustle on, selling whatever he's got to do, right? And that's what I see.
Yeah.
Right? This is what they're telling me.
Yeah. What about you, James? What do you think?
Well, I think, again, to me, it goes to having had a plan for what happens to young people when they come out of incarceration. There has to be a plan in place. We heard a couple of years ago and into last year all about this reentry thing. Okay. Where is it? Okay. If kids are coming out of these juvenile facilities and they're reentering society, where are the services?
Yeah.
That's my question. And so that's how I feel about it. We have to program for them and create potential for them, potential jobs and what have you for them.
Yeah. Right. I think as a representative, I think that we need to take more of a proactive step into the reentry process. But we'll talk about that once we get back. We're about to take a break. Joe Collins for Congress, Real Talk Radio. We have James and James. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Hello, this is Chef Ava, superfood mom and healthy food educator. It is my passion and joy to share with you all I have learned as a professional chef over the years. Come visit me in the virtual kitchen as we live stream together. My online live stream class experience is where you'll be able to ask me direct questions and receive answers as I share new recipes and techniques. To register and stay current on what cooking classes I'm offering, visit my bio on Instagram at AVA5TAR and click on my link tree to see the current schedule and how to register. Tap on the Chef's Feed live stream button and sign up for my very next class. That's AVA5TAR on my Instagram page under Linktree. Once again, to register for my live stream online cooking classes you can take from the convenience of your home, visit AVA5TAR on Instagram and click my Linktree. Keep cooking, and I'll see you in the kitchen.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Attention Italian food lovers. Angelo's and Vinci's Ristorante in Fullerton, California is open for takeout with wine. Can you believe it? Angelo's and Vinci's Takeout is now able to offer you a nice bottle of wine to enjoy with your meal. Order today and get 1/2 price on our special selection of Pinot Grigio, Chianti, Chardonnay, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot. Mamma mia! Order today at Angelo's and Vinci's from our complete award-winning menu and get some great wine for 1/2 price. We hope you're healthy and safe. We want to keep you well fed. Wapo's To Go Kitchen is open from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, or you can order through DoorDash. Pizza dough, bread, sauces still being made fresh every day. Angelo's and Vinci's named Best Italian Restaurant on the Orange County Hot List. Call 714-879-4022. Angelo's and Vinci's, 550 North Harbor in Fullerton, California. Call 714-879-4022. That's 714-879-4022.
The music is still great. So I thank everyone who is still on with us for joining in. We have James, and I don't know if you can see in the background, but we are on the carrier CVN 76, which is the Ronald Reagan, which is personally one of my favorite aircraft carriers.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And so let's get into some military history.
Okay.
Yeah. Just kidding. Let's continue talking about homeless youth, right? So we talked about the incarceration, how incarceration plays. We talked about the lack of opportunities that we have. One thing that I've noticed when it comes to our youth is they like to go fast. You know, fast cars. The internet's fast. They want the best this, the best that.
Right.
So I was speaking with this one lady at an event that I went to, and one thing that she was telling me was that, you know, her daughter crashed and died in a car accident. They were racing. So, you know, hypothetically speaking, if this was something that we were able to have a racetrack for youth, how do you think that would go? If we take a racetrack and put it by the airport, right? No, seriously. We take a racetrack, we put it by the airport.
It's a great business idea.
And we allow the youth to utilize the track to race their cars, work on their cars, give them summer jobs, actually keep them actively involved to keep them off the streets. How do you think that would go? And if there is a separate program that you think would work, you know, what do you think about that?
Yeah. So here's the thing. We're in this thing, and we have lack of access, but then there is some access. It's just there's no knowledge to that access. So we're in that. So for example, the county of Los Angeles, within the county of Los Angeles, there's $300 billion worth of contract and procurement opportunities.
Wow.
Right. So many businesses are not aware of this, believe it or not. Right. So now it's taking in, let's say, for example, video production.
Mm-hmm.
the kids that I know could go get a contract in video production with the county or the city.
Wow.
Right? So then not only can they just go do that contract, so guess what? They can go hire one of their peers. So now they have this, this business that's viable, right? So it's just really having the information and then applying the information.
Yeah.
I tell the kids all the time, I said, do you think knowledge is power? And they go, yeah. And I said, it's not. Applied knowledge, right? Because you can know all you want, right? But if you're not applying any of these things that you are being that you say you want to do, then you're going to continue to struggle. So there are opportunities out there, and we just have to create programs and model how this can be done, right? And find the talent, and so they can find their talent.
I think the racetrack idea is a great idea.
Exactly.
I think it's a wonderful idea. Of course, there'd be insurance concerns and what have you. You'd have to figure out how to work it in. But along those same lines, I mean, understand at the Compton Airport, there's a program where teenagers learn to fly. Wow. So a teenager can't street race, but they can learn how to fly a plane.
How come that we don't know about these things?
And good question. A few years ago, a girl got her license at 15. She made her first solo at 16. And I believe now she just got hired on as a pilot with one of the airlines. So see, it's there. But you're right, Joe. We have to make this information highly available to people.
So go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you out. We got a couple of seconds left.
Well, I'm all over the place.
you got your social media handle or website or something people can ping you?
I'm working on the website. You can, if you want some information, James at coveredcommunity.org. James at coveredcommunity.org. You can email me if you want to.
All right, go ahead.
And what you can do to get me, I'm on Facebook, James Hayes. Look me up on Facebook. Also, I have a new website coming, jameshayesformayor.com.
All right.
All right, you guys, you heard it yourself, James Hayes and James. So make sure you stay tuned. No, we about to go home actually. So I got to kick you guys off my ship. So we're gonna deep six these guys off the USS Ronald Reagan, but I appreciate you guys staying tuned. Next week, same time, same channel, Joe Collins for Congress. I appreciate you guys.
Enjoying all your favorite CRN programming is easier than ever. It's right on your TV, through your local cable provider, and on the web at crntalk.com. But when you're on the move, stuck in a plane, train, or in your car, catch up on all the shows you missed. Or listen live to your favorites. Download our CRN app from your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Just search for CRN Digital Talk Radio. Or search for your favorite CRN shows on apps like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, uTunes, and Nobex. Now you have access to all of our great shows anywhere in the world and the ability to be part of them by calling our toll-free studio line at 800-336-2225. For more information on where and how to listen, log on to crntalk.com and create your own listening experience today.